I'd like to discuss about the first reflection topic about showing seeing in Chapter 1. This reflection I felt best suited for a video response because to me there are many different ways to represent seeing, whether it be on how it impacts our culture or what it means for us. I would like to begin with one of Elkin's main points on page 21 regarding one of my favorite activities, shopping. This is what I want to say about that phrase, just looking. It is not possible. There is no such moment. All seeing is heated. It must always involve force and desire and intent. Even when I think I am least interested, I am already on the prowl. I am always looking out, looking for, even just looking around. Now we have all been in this situation. When you're walking around a store in the mall and a clerk comes up to you and asks if you need help with anything. The most common response is, "Oh, I'm just looking." But what exactly does this mean? When you think about it, that was not really the answer to the question that the clerk asked you. If you are just looking, then what are you looking for, or what are you looking at? It is to my understanding that our eyes are indeed looking at something, and according to Elkins, you must be looking with some sort of intent. When we are just looking, we know we are on the prowl for something. Elkins continues on page 22 saying, "When I say just looking, I mean I am searching. I have an eye out for something. Looking is hoping, desiring, never just taking in light, never merely collecting patterns and data. Looking is possessing or the desire to possess." So then can't just looking also be a form of seeing? According to Elkins, seeing and looking both have intent and desire. There is no way that our eyes can do an act without aspiration or purpose, even though that is not what we discussed in class. Elkins stated that seeing is heated. However, in class we define seeing as passive. Therefore, I believe that seeing and looking are very similar instead of opposites. Yet how can looking and seeing impact and change the world around us? Is it for the good or is it for the bad? Seeing can lead to beautiful and innocent images of our world. Seeing opens up our imagination and gears our thought process. However, this is not always the case. What we see can lead to troubles and hardships, especially in cases where some may not agree with what we see. This point can be supported by what Elkins says on page 25. Seeing is effortless and mercurial, or so it seems, and appears we prefer it that way, but we cannot permanently forget the harshness and pressure of seeing. Seeing is at the very root of our way of getting along in the world, and a single look can have all the force of hatred and violence that may end up being expressed in more brutal ways. As an athlete, I can most easily show the act of seeing to my favorite sport, tennis. In the game of tennis, it is the only sport where your opponent can make the calls for you. It is a game where you're supposed to trust what your opponent sees. Therefore, if they see the ball out, then you have to trust their call. However, this is not always the case. In many situations, the opposing player sees the ball differently, and fights will outburst on court. This even happens in professional tennis, where the trained umpires make the calls for them. For the people that do not think that tennis can become violent over just one simple call that someone saw, then they never saw the 2009 U.S. Open clip of Serena Williams.
Foot fault, and that gives Kim Clijsters 2 match points.
She wasn't even coming in.
Or is she giving the business to this lineswoman?
I don't see it at all. Whoa, she's really upset. That's as angry as I've ever seen her. You can't call that there.
She already has one.
Now she's being reported again.
Now the early's coming out. It's
the tournament referee.
This is Donna Kelso, the ITF supervisor, coming out.
This is a very dodgy, ugly spot here at the edge of the semifinals to determine the woman in the finals. It could be over. She's double faulted.
As you can see, what the umpires saw was not what Serena agreed with. Even a year later, there is still a lot of speculation as to what the real call is. Some people say that she indeed foot-faulted, and some people say that they do not see it at all. What this one umpire saw has caused turmoil within the USTA as to whether they should now include instant replay of foot-faulting during matches. Now, of course, what people can see can lead to more severe accusations than just simple calls in the game of tennis. More serious consequences can be included in court cases. A person's life can be decided over what one person saw. Seeing can also reflect violence in how some may look at others. A person may see a certain race or gender in a violent and aggressive way. This is what has led to wars and violence in our country and the world. So in the end, how can you show seeing? I have shown a few examples, but those are what come from my opinion. In the end, seeing lies within each person, and for each different person, they may see different things. So what I believe Elkins is trying to say is that seeing is like an opinion. Everyone has their own opinion, just like they have their own set of eyes. To show seeing is to show how one person may look at one particular thing. This is how seeing can become a dangerous and skeptical act. Just like there are many different opinions in the world, there is also many different ways to show seeing.